Hey fellow Tamers and DigiDestined, it's Mike, aka Sanaku from Overground, and today we're going to be commenting over another ShineGreymon testing video against our buddy ShadowJeanne. This time he's going to be playing the black Craniamon build. So the first new card that gets played in proxy form is going to be Tankmon. This is the 1-cost evolution 6k DP that black now gets in 1.5. Similar to other cards in other colors that you see, like Dark Tyrannomon in red, Grillamon in blue, Vegemon in green, for example. And yellow actually gets one of these cards as well in the form of Craniamon, which you're going to see later on in this match. And we start pretty slow here. The reason I selected this match to show off, or this game rather, is just because it shows the bounce back potential of ShineGreymon, because despite how slow of a start that the deck can get, it can really snowball into a ton of advantage very, very quickly. So we're just going to drop down one Tamer early on, and then as you'll see in the next couple of turns, we're just going to be kind of actively choking each other out here, giving each other the least amount of memory possible while also kind of establishing our stacks. So here, again, we saw the 1-cost Shurimon there, followed it up by the 2-cost Sirenmon evolution. It's going to put Shadow back to 1. But here, he's going to play his High-Andromon to put us back to 1. And now we're in a position where we can't necessarily out that very cleanly. Even if we had a ShineGreymon, ShineGreymon could only take 4,000 off of that High-Andromon because we only have one Tamer in play. So we're just going to keep evolving and kind of get into different outs. What's really bad here is that High-Andromon is security attack +1, and we have no way to defend against that right now. But we're going to see that when ShineGreymon gets to 3 or less security, that's when the deck really shines, no pun intended. And we're going to show you that right here. So as you can see, my hand's really not that great. I'm just kind of evolving to dig into other answers here. While Shadow keeps kind of setting up very dangerous stacks with those Greymon and Middle Greymon inheritables that give massive bonuses if the opponent, or sorry, if that Digimon has a reboot, which in this case it does due to Toyagumon. So here we're going to be attacking, and we don't really care if our Digimon survive here. We're only attacking just to trigger the Upamon inheritables, which now is that if we have 3 or less security, we get to draw 1 card. And again, we're just digging for answers. This is 2 free cards that we get, while also taking advantage of the fact that he doesn't have a blocker on the field, so we can start hitting those securities. And as a black deck, they generally always have blockers on the field, so this is kind of a prime opportunity to take advantage of that. And then we're going to follow that up with the second Tamer of the game, and that's going to be our set 1 TK. And we're going to look through our security here. And then we're going to take a Chirurumon, I believe, yeah. And then the other 2 cards in our security were the set 1 TK and I believe a ShineGreymon. So I don't remember what the third one that we added was at this point. Oh, I think it's Glorious Burst, because we're going to pick it up in a second, as you'll see. So we're going to see the first blocker of the game. It's going to put him to 0. Now that has jamming, which is terrifying, and reboot. But he hits our set 1 TK again, so now we're going to grab the Glorious Burst that we just recovered. So now this is a new recovery card that we're unfamiliar with. So we still know that there's a ShineGreymon, and we still know that there is a starter deck TK hiding in the midst. And he's going to choose to attack the Sirenmon. And this is smart because now that we have multiple Tamers up on the field, if we do have a ShineGreymon, that ShineGreymon could have eliminated that Andromon immediately. Or, sorry, the High-Andromon, because we have 3, so we can equal 12. So now he plays Craniamon, and he's kind of putting us into a position where we have to kind of pick and choose which one we want to Glorious Burst, because we do have it in hand. And Glorious Burst is going to cost us 6, because it costs 9 normally, and it costs 1 less for every Tamer in play. So we're going to go ahead and play Kari while we have the opportunity to reduce that even further, and now it's going to cost us 5. And because we know we still have that ShineGreymon in security, we go ahead and knock out that Craniamon, because Craniamon has jamming due to the Greymon inheritable, and that means that it will survive if it hits the ShineGreymon, which is going to be 13,000 with that starter deck TK, whereas the High-Andromon will not. So even if it has security attack +1, if we can hit the ShineGreymon off the first check, we can actually remove it that way instead. And now we're in a really good position because we have a champion on board, and we're guaranteed to go to 4 memory with the Kari and the set 1 TK, because TK will put us to 3 if we're less than 3, and Kari gives us +1 if we have 3 or less security. So we're guaranteed to start our turn with at least 4, and that means we can go into an ultimate immediately off the Chirurumon and then into a ShineGreymon to get rid of that, which we didn't even need to do because he hits the ShineGreymon in security. So he's going to go ahead and play the blocker. Blocker goes for 3, and then we bounce right to 4. So we're going to bring up the Craniamon now, and this is where things get very fun, and you start to kind of see the cool little tricks that ShineGreymon can do. So we're going to go into Anjuwomon here for 3, put us to 1. We're going to draw 1, and then we're going to recover because we have 3 or less security. This is the starter deck Anjuwomon. And then we're going to evolve into Shine, which normally costs 4. But our Patamon inheritable is if something is destroyed by its DP reducing to 0, we actually get to gain 1 memory. So in this case, our ShineGreymon actually only evolved for 3, and we get to remove his blocker immediately. So now we're in a prime position to start swinging next turn. So he goes after his jamming, and we didn't know what the 3rd security card was. And it turns out it was Eden's Javelin that we just recovered off the previous TK. So we get to resolve Eden's Javelin, which lets us draw 1, and then we minus 1,000 for every card in our hand, minus 1,000 DP. Now this is a bit of a misplay on our end because we... actually, no, it's not. The Patamon, I think, is only our turn. So we don't gain the memory then. We would have gone to 4 anyway after we played the Gardenemon. But yeah, so we had like 9 cards in hand, so the Eden's Javelin just took out that Metal Greymon. So even though it had jamming, it still basically destroyed itself by running into our security. So now we get to attack with ShineGreymon, who gains 1,000 for every Tamer in play. So he's 11 plus 4, so he's 15,000, and we get to draw a card for that Upamon. And he's going to choose not to block. We're going to put down another card, which means now we're going to start our turn with guaranteed 5 at least. Then we're going to evolve into Repamon, and we're going to choke him to 1. So now we're in a bit of a dicey situation because we've only got 1 security. If he can set up 2 more attackers, we got to kind of play very delicately to bounce around that to make sure that he can't just steal the game from us now. And now you see I'm thinking about evolving the Gardenemon. That's a very expensive Gardenemon because he's at 1, and that'll put us all the way to 5. So instead he's going to evolve into the Andromon instead and get more value out of what he has on the board. And you kind of see, again, the snowball effect. We went from having 1 Tamer to 5 to 6, and now, because we just play another Kari, and now we're just reaping so much advantage, and we're getting so much free memory every single turn to keep going into that constant stream of ShineGreymons. And that's exactly what we're going to do this turn. We're just going to follow up with another one, and then knock out that Andromon. We're going to Siren, go to 0. And then we're going to play another Shine on top for 4. But thanks to the Patamon inheritable, we are going to go to 3 instead. So he brings up his Craniamon. This is another proxy, although this card is technically legal and does exist. So he's just swinging for the fences here, knowing that we have no blockers. We didn't draw a single blocker this entire game. And so he has to kind of take us out as quickly and efficiently as possible. Now, thankfully, that Craniamon isn't destroyed because he hits a Tamer. So that means we're kind of... Yep. I was going to say, we weren't forced to attack it, but now we set up 2 blockers. So now we're kind of forced to attack the Gotsumon if we don't have a way to get to another ShineGreymon to clear both of those blockers. Or sorry, we have to attack the Craniamon, because if we go after security, he can just block twice, and then he can attack us back to win with the 1 Craniamon. So we're going to go after the Craniamon with 1 ShineGreymon, draw a card with Upamon, and on this draw, we actually hit the 3rd ShineGreymon of the game, which kind of helps us kind of clinch this match. So now we attack a second time, we draw for Upamon again, and he chooses not to block, because he's trying to make sure that he can ensure that he has the game shot on the next turn. But what he doesn't know is that with the memory that we have, we can actually get into another Shine very quickly. And this is one of the cool things about this deck too, is that we play so many cheap cost ultimates and cheap cost champions. So we could just throw down that 3 cost Repamon, which was generally the cost of a rookie, go into an ultimate immediately for 3 more. We started our turn at 5. And then we can go ahead and drop that ShineGreymon again, knock out both of his blockers with all of our Tamers, and then put him to 3 again with that Patamon. And then he just goes ahead and concedes, because there's nothing more he can do. We have more attackers than he can establish blockers, and he does not have enough memory to establish more than enough blockers to survive the game. So again, this is just kind of a fun match to kind of showcase the power of ShineGreymon and kind of how it can bounce back, especially when kind of opening in awkward positions and opening very slow. It just kind of snowballs into a giant mess of advantage, and it can just get to a point where no matter what your opponent sets up, you will generally have an answer every single time. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like what you see, make sure to like the video. If you have any questions, or if you just want to let us know anything about what you see, or if you noticed any misplays, or if we did anything wrong, leave a comment. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider. We're overground. We're doing gameplay videos, doing deck profiles. We're going to be going into a lot of 1.5 content very, very soon. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.